Not sure what this is streaming to. Could be streaming to my. Yeah, that's not good. Okay, it's streaming to the phone. I guess I'll just do phone then. Uh, Give me a sec. I'm not prepared for this. Sorry, it's my first time doing a podcast, and my computer's giving me technical difficulties. I don't want to wear my glasses either, so I'm blind as a bat here. Give me a second. I'm sorry. Gotta find a darn thing. I'm so close. No. Yeah, I'm close enough. YouTube. YouTube's not working. On this, I mean. Sorry. This is not a very good first impression. I honestly expected to do this on my computer. I did not expect to do this on mobile. I'm at the zoom in. You know what? I'm gonna have to wear my glasses. I'm gonna have to. It sucks, but I'm gonna have to. There we go. Uh, yeah, there we go. Hello, listeners, and welcome to the debut episode of the Porcupine Zone. So, I'm your host, Svalat, and I'm here to provide you my libertarian viewpoint of different issues. New episodes will be released every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, each at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, EST, whatever you want. So, without further ado, let's get into this because I've already wasted 2 minutes just trying to figure out how to get this thing to start. About myself, I am Zvalat. I am an internet creator. I've been doing this for about 3 years now, and I've been trying out different styles. I first tried gaming, and now I'm trying out politics. Let's see how that goes. You can see the "Don't Tread on Me" flag behind me. That's my background. I love it so much. This flag is my beauty. It's my baby. "Don't Tread on Me" applies deeply to my soul. You can see I have a "Don't Tread on Me" shirt. If you can't tell, I'm a libertarian. I do not like the government. I do not like being treaded on. You're welcome. So, why the porcupine? So, I can see the I keep saying so. I gotta stop saying that. The porcupine zone was created as because it's an animal that has claws for self-defense, as everyone knows. It, the claws are pretty sharp, and I see that as a similarity with libertarians. Because libertarians, we are also very self-imposed, I guess I could say. We want to be left alone, but we can be very defensive at times. And this is a zone for unfiltered, politically incorrect talk about issues that are happening all around us. There's no script, only notes. I say as I'm reading my notes, which is sounding a lot like a script at this moment. So each episode, I think, is going to be probably an hour to 2 hours. Depends on what YouTube allows. I don't think I've ever done a 2 hour stream before on YouTube. So we'll see how that goes. Because, of course, everyone has their own thing going on at the same time, too. I doubt I'm going to get much of an audience at this time. But, like I said, I'll do it as it goes along. So, a little about myself. Like I said, I'm Zwat. I'm from Florida originally. If you guys don't know where Port Charlotte is, it's basically underneath Tampa. That's south of it. It's a hot state, really beautiful state. A lot of storms. Yes, people say that it's the Sunshine State. I can confirm that. But in 2017, I moved to New Hampshire, the live free or die state, and that is my favorite motto of every state: live free or die. John Stark, he's a famous general from New Hampshire that is famously attributed to him because he says that death is not it's the least of two evils. I think he said something like that. So basically what that means is death can be a mercy for some people because Living under tyranny and being treaded on is a far worse fate. Let me tell you, living under socialism or communism, no, it's evil, evil ideologies. And I'll say this later for my streams as well. I'm a firm believer that fascism is also on the left wing spectrum because it's basically greater government. It's a bigger government. It is also what communism advocates for. And right wing politics kind of advocates for a smaller government. I'm a right wing person. I advocate for a smaller government because big government tends to be very authoritarian, very tyrannical. That's the very thing that our founding fathers were against. That's the reason why the United States exists. We're created to oppose tyranny. You know, you see Americans all the time on the internet talking about freedom and liberty and justice for all, and how much we love democracy. You guys know all about that. It's the American way of life. It's American culture. It's rooted in our very nation. Since 1776, we've been doing this. We've been wanting to live free or die. That should be the slogan not for just New Hampshire, but for all of America, I think. Make America New Hampshire. You can see my hat says Make America Goth again. It's a hat from my friend, Libertarian Goth. She's pretty cool. She's actually streaming right now, too. So, yeah. I'm not copying her. I just decided to do 11 p.m. because like it's also most convenient for me. But I also, like I said, I stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. But of course, that could change. This is my first stream ever, so I could always change my stream. I'll let you guys know I'm on X. I'll explain at the end of the video. So I'm very politically active, and I am actually about to run for the New Hampshire State House. I'm a little nervous about that because it's my first time actually, getting involved in politics. I'm also a political canvasser for this organization called Americans for Prosperity. It's pretty cool. It's also a libertarian organization. Love them. They're phenomenal people. So yeah, I will probably be running as a Republican, but on very libertarian principles because I distrust both parties. I despise Democrats. I kind of despise the Republicans at the same time. Although if I had, like I said, if I had to run, I'd run as a Republican because I just don't trust Democrats. And I'm trying to figure out why it is too. I just distrust Democrats in general. Maybe it's because of the policies they advocate for. State controlled. Anything that's state controlled is an automatic no-no for me. I don't want the government treading on anything. Economics, freedom, free speech. No. Never should be allowed. I was a communist in high school. Unfortunately, that was a very bad experience. I do remember those times. It was very sad. I was an avid supporter of Joseph Stalin and Vladimir Lenin. Those are not very good, nice people. Marxism is a very genocidal ideology. It's a very murderous ideology. Look at the Soviet Union. Look at Vietnam. Look at Cuba, North Korea, China. Venezuela could be considered one too. Angola, Romania, Poland, Czechoslovakia. I could go on and on. All those regimes were also awful to people. And a couple like Venezuela and China and North Korea, they're still active today. They're still murdering people. It's not good being under communism and socialism. I tell people that socialism is like communism, but you're just given democracy. You're promised democracy, but you're given like a flawed version of it. But it's basically the same thing because it's still the state controlling everything. It's just more freedom, if you could say that. So in 2022, I left the left following an argument with some people online. They're actually friends of mine, liberals, and yeah, they attacked me for not conforming to what they believed in, and I was ostracized, and I became a disillusioned centrist for quite a while. I remember those times too. I was starting to lean more right with some of my policies, some of my beliefs, but I was very dissatisfied with Trump at the time too, because he was advocating for dismantling some parts of the Constitution, and I value the Constitution very much. It's basically like the second Bible to me, and I don't like anyone saying that they want to take away some parts of it. I don't care if it's like the Second Amendment or the 13th Amendment or whatever. Take out any part of the Constitution, except for the 16th Amendment. Take that out and we'll be fine as a nation, because that's absolutely authoritarian that's in there. That's the income tax. Yeah, you are treading on the American people. And that's something I'm against. I don't like any part of anything being censored or canceled. And I'm going to get into that later. Cancel culture is a big thing which I'm against. Very much against. And I want to lead a big movement against it. And I'm part of a big movement, which I'll also get into. So I went conservative in my final year of high school. It's like senior year, it's 2023. And I also joined Twitter, which is now obviously called X, after Elon acquired it in 2022. And I remember that specifically too, though. Let that sink in. Oh, Elon's the best. I love Elon. He's so funny. Especially after he joined, after he bought Twitter. This was like a big thing that was going on at the time too. Everyone was freaking out like, yeah, it's gonna be a right wing paradise. It's gonna be misinformation everywhere. Ah. And then it ended up being perfectly fine. And everyone left for no reason, because other than that, they're terrified that their feelings are gonna get hurt. All we did was reinstate some trolls and a lot of accounts that are banned for having honestly a based opinion. There was this one account called the red redheaded libertarian. I think I'm saying her name right. I'm probably butchering it, and I apologize to her if she's seeing this. But she's a very based account, and she was banned under, was it Jack Dorsey? I think he's the CEO before Elon took over. But Elon reinstated her. He also reinstated Alex Jones, and as we all know, he reinstated Donald Trump to the platform. So he restored free speech for a lot of individuals, because the free speech is censored because it hurt a lot of people's feelings. And people were talking against the COVID vaccine. They're talking about the lockdowns and all that stuff, which was a very controversial time in our nation's history, to say the least. It was very tyrannical of government what they did, especially under Joe Biden. The way he handled the COVID pandemic, forcing a lot of Americans to get the vaccine. It wasn't a good time. It was really scary. So we're all afraid of like where the nation was going at the time. But then Elon took over. So like Twitter became like the first big social media platform to kind of go, I guess, unwoke is a term you could say. He freed the bird, and he became Chief Twit. Oh, I remember that. I remember the Chief Twit thing. That was so. That's so funny. So yeah, I initially stayed away from politics because obviously it's very divisive. It's very controversial. There's a lot of extreme biased, opinions of both sides, and we're living in a very divided time right now. I think America's been more divided than it's ever been in its history. Yes, especially since the Civil War. Because right now there's so many things that we're against. The Civil Wars, are you with slavery or are you against slavery? Are you with states' rights? Are you against, all that stuff? But now it's, are you pro LGBTQ? Are you anti LGBTQ? Are you pro gun? Are you anti gun? Are you pro abortion? Are you anti abortion? There's so many issues that people are arguing over right now. Everything has become political. Everything has become controversial, and it's leading, unfortunately, to a lot of violence. Is becoming the norm now. It's started in social media. It started online. Flame wars, people getting canceled, all that stuff. But now it's starting to spread into the real world. And unfortunately, one of those examples was a man I highly respected, Charlie Kirk. He was assassinated last year because he said something that offended someone else. So obviously, there's conspiracy theories about that, and I am still questioning that stuff. But right now, yeah, he was assassinated because he said something wrong. Uh, I saw issues, obviously, that had to be addressed. So that's the reason why I got into politics. It's the reason why I started speaking out against Joe Biden. I saw things that he was doing that I was very displeased with. His administration was, in my opinion, one of the worst in American history. It wasn't the worst, but it was obviously one of the worst. The guy himself, I feel he is a puppet. People talk about the deep state and stuff like that. I follow that. So I think there's someone else controlling the White House. I think everyone kind of saw that too. He's a bumbling mess. He didn't really know what he was doing at the time. You're shaking hands with like Casper, a friendly ghost over there. He's talking about people who he's sitting in the audience who have been dead for like a decade. He's yapping about all this different stuff, and then like when something goes wrong, he just goes ahead and blames it on Trump or on the MAGA crowd. When Trump was out of office for like 2 years at that point, it was clear to a lot of people, I think, that Joe Biden was a very confused man. He was very, what's the right word for this? I don't want to say. It's unfiltered. He had dementia. People say he didn't have dementia. I say he did. He showed a lot of signs of having dementia. The guy pooped himself in front of the Pope. There's images of that. You can look it up. He has a little brown spot in his pants because he went poo poo in front of the Pope. That was it's very embarrassing for America. So I obviously spoke out against that. And I was very supportive of what I saw as a return of free speech to X, as I said before. So initially, when I was on X, I went under Zepa Gamer. That was actually what I was called before I became Zvalot. Zvalot was kind of like a rebranding for me. And I eventually banded Zepa Gamer because it just, I don't know, I didn't really like the way it was going. I had a lot of fans, a lot of supporters. I really appreciate all of them. I still do appreciate all of them. But I feel like the crowd I was with was kind of liberal. They're kind of like one-sided. And it was also kind of around the time I started getting into politics. I started looking into the opinions of our people, and I started seeing the viewpoints of our people and seeing how much I actually agreed with like what they were saying. So I left the left. And then actually, there's this one account I remember right now. I think her name was like Brittany AZ or something like that. She's just like a liberal account from Arizona. I'm pretty sure she's paid. There's Brooklyn Dad as well. I followed him. Obviously, very biased, pro-democratic, pro-Joe Biden propaganda from them. He is having all these blunders, like falling on the stage and all that stuff, embarrassing America in front of the world. And they're all like, he's just an old man. It's fine. So you guys are going so harsh on him. He's the president of the United States. He's supposed to be the strongest guy. He's supposed to be the voice of power. And he's like your average grandpa. We need to stop electing old people to office, guys. Come on. Like, our Congress shouldn't be a retirement home. Our Congress shouldn't represent where your granny goes when, she's reaching her old ripe age. She shouldn't resemble, a bunch of people with walking sticks and wheelchairs and all that. And Mitch McConnell is a good example of that. He had a stroke on live TV. He just like I remember seeing that. I remember seeing that. That was funny. Not funny. Obviously, it was a medical emergency. I don't laugh at that. I'm not laughing at that, but I'm just laughing at the fact that that those half the people in Congress are senile. We have the. Did you know we have the largest amount of people who are retiring this year from Congress? And I think that's because they're all old. They're all old. Dude, many of these people were born directly during or after World War II. These people were born like when the Allies were invading Normandy. These people were alive when, the Germans were bombing Britain. It, it, we gotta do better. We need more young people in Congress. Like me. Yeah, I have a big ego. You didn't see that right, did you? Let's see, what else? So I obviously saw the mainstream media and sites like Facebook and Reddit and Instagram and Snapchat and all of those. Ironically, I'm also on those. But I saw how they freaked out about the right wing misinformation that was like spreading at the time when Elon took over. And obviously, Blue Sky is a very stupid countermeasure by the left to try and impose this. And I still think Blue Sky is the worst echo chamber on the internet. Reddit comes very. Actually, you know what? Reddit's the worst. I've seen some very stupid takes on Reddit. Like some guy was talking about how the Soviet Union is so awesome, and he had this really stupid meme of, "Oh yeah, capitalism only lasts this long, and communism lasts this long." He is comparing the United States, which has lasted for over 250 years now, to the Soviet Union, which didn't even outlive Joe Biden. Joe Biden has outlived the Soviet Union. It's crazy. Um, but yeah, I saw how they are becoming an echo chamber. I saw how a lot of people were freaking out about uncensored accounts talking basically shit about other stuff, but they're sharing their opinions. And I respect that. I respect sharing your opinion about stuff. It's very important. It's a First Amendment right. It's protected under the Constitution. And the Constitution should be protected because the Constitution protects you against a tyrannical government. You're welcome, Founding Fathers. Thank you, Founding Fathers. And you're welcome, America. You can thank our Founding Fathers for that. So after I left high school, this is again around 2023, I started supporting Donald Trump. So I went conservative, like full conservative, right wing conservative. Still am right wing, like I said, but like it's less now. And I was quite MAGA, and I became a fervent supporter after the Butler assassination attempt, which I am starting to think was actually an outsider job. People talk about like Israel being involved or the deep state being involved. I think Israel's connected to the deep state. Not talking about the Jewish people. The Jewish people in Israel are very separate. Israel is an actual country. It's an actual state with legitimate people in charge. And Judaism is a religion that's practiced by many people. I actually have several friends who are Jewish, and I have no problem with them at all. So you can hate a country, and you can still love the people. And that's exactly kind of what libertarianism is too. You can be nationalistic, actually. You can love America so much you can think it's above the world, and you can hate the government like it's a bag of shit, which it is. I think that America's the greatest nation to ever exist because our rights are written in law. That's written way before dinosaurs were even discovered. And yeah, I was also radicalized by what I saw as the deep state trying to assassinate Trump. That was also what I'm saying. I'm reading off notes. As you can see, I got distracted. But I'm not sure to talk about this. Thomas Matthew Crooks was the assassin. He quite literally got his face painted red. I think he got shot right here. His glasses broke. He He probably had a stupid grin right before he got sniped, like a better snipe than he could see in Call of Duty, Modern Warfare. You know, those lobbies and stuff like that. He got taken out like that. But Trump was somehow clipped right here. You know how hard of a shot that can be? I never shot a gun, so I can guess all I want, but I'm pretty sure there's be a couple people who have shotguns who are watching this. Let me know in the comments, like, how hard is it actually to fire a rifle at precisely that right angle? From, what is it, 200 yards away? 300 yards? Something like that? And he clipped him in the ear. That is amazing. Disturbingly amazing, but amazing at the same time. Unfortunately, a guy lost his life during the rally. Fortunately, Trump survived. Fortunately, not a lot of other people were injured. I mean, there was a couple others, but luckily they survived. Thank God for that. Thank God Crooks was taken out before he could cause him more demise and tragedy. But it's just surprising to me how, because it's an AR-15, which is an assault rifle, which you have like recoil when you fire those things. And I remember seeing it was like, you can hear it on like the camera and stuff too. You can see Trump going down and all of that. But the fact that he clipped him in the ear is just surprising. I'm surprised he didn't take out his whole head or something like that, because I think AR-15s are pretty powerful rifles. But what am I saying, right? What am I saying? I was very happy when he won in 2024. It was a very heated debate, a very heated race. Actually, I think it was one of the most heated races in American history, and that's saying something because we've had a lot of heated presidential elections between different people. One famous example, I think, was 1870, where they had the compromise with the Democrats and Republicans because the Democrats who controlled the South at the time, they were threatening to leave again. They're actually threatening to secede again because the Republicans kept winning. They kept winning and winning and winning. And as you know, the Republicans are formed in opposition to the South, the Democrats who were supporting slavery at the time. Yeah, but you never knew that. So the Confederacy was indeed Democrat. Jefferson Davis was a Democrat. I'll stop saying Democrat now, but I do believe that Kamala Harris would have been a worse president. She was literally pissed drunk during most of her campaign. She had Taylor Swift endorse her. That's it. Right? That's all I can think of. That's honestly all I can think of. Meanwhile, Donald Trump had Joe Rogan. He had Hulk Hogan. He had, what was it? Obviously, Alex Jones endorsed him. Obviously, he had all these different people. Trump had like a whole coalition of people to support him. It was honestly incredible seeing pretty much the entire nation, like a lot of people coming together to support Trump, like for the election. It was kind of nice, I guess you could say. And I like it. I like his campaign. His campaign was funny. Like the dumb trunk. I remember the garbage truck thing. Like we're taking out the trash. He just like dressed up as a garbage man. Then of course you guys remember the eating the dogs, the eating the cats. Yeah, I like Trump. I liked him. And I'm getting to this right now. I deeply supported his first 6 months of the second presidency. I was very excited when Trump was inaugurated. I actually streamed the thing on YouTube. I think that was like the last live stream I did on YouTube until I'm doing this thing now. And Doge and all of that stuff. It was very cool seeing that being implemented. Obviously, people are talking about how, kind of disorganized Doge was, how it was kind of destructive. It was auditing different things. But, like, that's going to happen. That's what happens when you have, like, decades of government waste, decades of bloated government. You have all these agencies like the CIA, FBI, the Federal Reserve, the IRS, the Department of Education. You have all these things controlling everything else. They're dictating how they want things to be run. And these organizations need to go. These departments, these agencies need to be dismantled because they're taking away your tax dollars. Your tax dollars aren't being put to good use. They're saying they're feeding the children in Africa, but they're probably putting that money elsewhere too. No, I'm not. No, not probably. They are putting that money elsewhere, and then Doge did uncover that. They did audits on all of these organizations. They found all these things, and Elon obviously posted those receipts to X. And it's honestly kind of disappointing to me how Trump was like, "Yeah, we're not gonna really do anything with those audits anymore." So Doge was just proven ineffective. Trump just declared them ineffective, and that's also really disappointing to me. As like I said, I am very supportive of auditing the government, having a watchdog organization watch over the government. We need that. We need like a civilian watchdog organization watching over Uncle Sam. Uncle Sam is he's hitting the white stuff. To say that. So I became disillusioned with Trump with the Epstein files. I think a lot of people were. Although his MAGA base is still up there, but it's fracturing quicker than the Beatles, which is surprising. Like it's you're watching the alliance fall apart. Alex Jones has ditched him. Megyn Kelly has ditched him. Tucker Carlson has ditched him. Uh, MTG, Margie Taylor Greene, she ditched him. I think I can't remember if Thomas Massey endorsed him. I think Massey is a fan of like Trump's first term. Massey is my favorite representative in Congress. I can't remember if Massey endorsed him. I'm trying to remember. But if Massey supported MAGA, yeah, he ditched him too. Massey's like the first guy Trump went after, calling him a traitor and all that. And it's disappointing seeing that Trump is calling a lot of Americans traitors, because that's exactly the same thing that Biden was doing. Trump is following the playbook of Biden. It's not a very good look, because remember, Biden is a bumbling mess. Biden didn't really know how to socially talk to people. He went up on stage and he was talking about how Trump was his vice president. And Kamala's looking at him like, huh? Yeah, you guys should see. You should see that. He's talking in front of Congress. He looks like a deranged old man just yelling at clouds. I remember seeing that on this channel called Don't Run, no, Don't Walk, Run Productions. Yeah, the thumbnail was old man yelling at clouds. um, yeah. So yeah, he's calling massive traitor. He's calling people like me a traitor. And when you're starting to call half of the Americans in this country traitors, you're not being a very united person. You're not being what the Constitution requires it to be. The commander in chief. You know, you're supposed to be Big Papi. You're supposed to be the guy everyone turns to. You're supposed to be the leader of the people, the representative of the people. You were elected to represent the people. Congress is obviously supposed to do that, but obviously everyone knows that Congress is more useless than a horse with no legs. So Congress is excused, not excused, but because I'm gonna keep bullying them over and over. But the president, dude, the president is elected by millions of people. Millions of people. Like half the country votes for you. And this is how you treat them? This is how you treat the people who support you so fervently? You just call them traitors. Absolutely stupid. Very stupid. I'm seeing all these Truth Social posts like, we're doing such a great job in Iran. We're winning. We're winning. You're winning? I'm paying $32 for gas. Actually, last time I paid for gas in full, because I'm paying $20 now. I'm limiting myself to $20 for gas. Last time I paid for gas in full, it was $38. And I'm in New Hampshire. Gas is $3.99. 1 cent away from being $4. What has the Iran war accomplished for the American people? I'll talk about that in future videos, future live streams, future episodes of the podcast, but it's not. It hasn't accomplished anything. I think we joined. Well, actually, we did join for Israel. I think an insider told, I think it was the Washington Post or something like that, that we didn't join for Israel because Israel's about to launch strikes on Iran. Because Israel's starting a bunch of stuff up in the Middle East for some reason. They are attacked by Hamas, not by everyone in the Middle East, but whatever. If you can tell, I distrust Israel a lot. So I became a libertarian in the summer of 2025. It's a big time jump, I know. Going from conservative in 2023 to libertarian all of a sudden in 2025. But that happened after I got disillusioned with MAGA. After I left MAGA in, I want to say July. It's probably July, because I think the Epstein stuff happened around July, August. And then, Trump called it a Democrat hoax. Was that September? I think it was when he said that. And around the time, I was just like, you're not doing anything with this. Pam Bondi's useless. She's completely useless. She's like a rock you can see outside. What does that rock do all day? It just sits there, does nothing. That's Pam Bondi. She's just a rock sitting in the Attorney General chair. She's doing nothing. Absolutely nothing with her life. The least qualified person for the job. And I think the new guy to replace her, I can't remember his name. He's more useless because he's saying he's not given to do anything with the Epstein files. No one's gonna get charged, and unfortunately, the victims are not gonna see any justice for their aggressors, for the people who abused them, and that's very sad and disgusting to see that our government is protecting these. I don't want to say the word because obviously I'm on YouTube, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Prince Andrew. Um, Donald Trump, I think, is in the files too. I think they mentioned that. Stephen Hawking. I'm not sure how that happened, but yeah, Stephen Hawking was also in them. Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton. I wouldn't be surprised if Barack Obama's in there too, because they're all corrupt. They're all corrupt old men and women. I don't want to be sexist here. Everyone is involved in this. And that's the other thing too. I'm a supporter of conspiracy theories. I don't think that JFK was killed by Lee Harvey Oswald. Although let's be honest, we all know that JFK wasn't killed by Lee Harvey Oswald. There was someone else involved. I personally think it was the CIA that killed him. I think everyone else believes that too. But remember, the Epstein files were also a conspiracy theory. And look where we're at now. We're actually getting people charged in other countries. Not in America, but in other countries. They are trying to get charged with crimes. They are all getting deposed. There's people resigning en masse right now. There's a guy in the UK who resigned. Mendelsohn, sorry. And Keir Starmer, their prime minister, he's freaking out. He's like, I didn't know he was involved with Epstein. I didn't even do any research when I hired him. Oops. I didn't do that. Oops. So I don't know why I'm burping so much. I mean, is it burping? I don't know if it's burping if you're breathing out air. But one of the accounts that helped me become libertarian was this wonderful lady named Libertarian Goth. Like I mentioned, she's a friend of mine. She's actually also, like I mentioned, she's streaming right now while I'm doing this. She's where I got this wonderful hat from, libertariangoth.com. Don't know why I'm doing paid advertisement in the podcast, but there you go. I'm just that eccentric of a person. So she showed me, what libertarianism actually was, and I did more research afterwards, and I kind of did my own path from there. I read about Ayn Rand. I looked up Thomas Massey. I looked up Ron Paul, and I saw libertarianism isn't just what people see. It's not just people who want to be left alone. It's limited government, no taxes, none of that stuff. We don't like anything government. And that's I'm gonna be getting to that. So, and the times that I realized that mainstream culture was indeed BS was how CNN and MSNBC ignored Biden's repeated blunders, and they constantly went after Trump. It was a big witch hunt. I still think that the numerous criminal cases against him were this thing called lawfare, where the opponents use the law system against their opponents. I think people like Vladimir Putin used them or something like that. Yeah, Putin definitely uses it because he convicted Navalny. Uh, rest in peace, Navalny. You're pretty cool. And they didn't poison Trump, but they did cleave his ear. But it was really disappointing seeing these news outlets where used to be so respected just ignoring our blubbering mess of a president and going after the guy who, like I said, wasn't even in office. Trump was in Mar-a-Lago doing Trump things. I don't know what that's doing. I guess swimming in his golden fountain or whatever. But he's just doing stuff. He's not in the White House anymore, and they're ignoring that. Biden's son's doing drugs in the White House, and there's not really any mentions of that. Actually, I think the only organizations I saw who were mentioning that were the right wing organizations. Fox, the New York Post, maybe even Infowars. Infowars probably covered it more than everyone else. They definitely do that. Actually, no, wait, no. They're at trial at that point. Alex Jones and all that. And while Biden is out there shaking hands with ghosts, and talking about dead people he's seeing. I see dead people. What was their name again? I see dead people, but I forgot their name. So that's my best Biden impression. But yeah, while Biden is out there making a complete embarrassment of himself, they were calling Trump literally Hitler. And I say that hesitantly because, well, I mean, the YouTube overlords, they could be watching the same time. You know that, right? They have their little surveillance on their phones and all that stuff. Scary stuff. That's just why I'm hesitant to do live stream on YouTube. um, but when Tucker Carlson interviewed Vladimir Putin, I can't remember when that was. I think it was 2024. I think it has to be 2024 because 2023 there was the rebellion, the Wagner rebellion. I don't know why had spoken a Russian accent there, but whatever. I took note of the mainstream media attacking Tucker for being literally what he is hired to be, a journalist. I think he left Fox because obviously they reported to someone higher above. They like the way he was going about things, reporting on certain things. And after Tucker started his own thing, interviewing all these different people, they attacked him for doing that. Journalism is about going to extreme lengths. There were people who were killed by Idi Amin. He's a really brutal dictator in Uganda. He killed them because they were trying to investigate human rights abuses by him. He hacked them to pieces. And then he pretended that they never went there. It's thanks to journalists we know about all these human rights abuses in all these different countries. It's a dangerous job, and I feel like journalists aren't getting the appreciation they deserve. So, journalists who are watching this, you have my complete support. Thank you so much for everything you do. Seriously, thank you. You don't get enough of it. You guys should all get Pulitzer awards. I think I said that right. And journalism isn't just about talking heads at CNN or Fox or MSNBC or the BBC. In my opinion, everyone's a journalist. Like Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley investigated the Leering Center in Minneapolis. And no, was it Chicago? It's either Chicago or Minneapolis. I confuse those two cities. They're so close together. Um, They're attacking him. They're calling him a right-wing person. They're accusing him of being racist towards Somalian immigrants because he's investigating things. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. A YouTuber is now literally a textbook journalist because journalists nowadays ignore these types of things. It isn't talked about enough on the news, and if it does get segments on the news, it's only like 2 or 3 minutes. And meanwhile, there's hours of YouTube videos covering these types of things, especially on X. X is becoming like the new hub for all these journalists. This is where Nick Shirley, I think, is posting all of his investigations and stuff. Because I remember seeing like one of his videos investigating California that popped up on X. I think in my feed. Can't remember if I retweeted it or not, but I might have. So I guess at this point, in my opinion, everyone's a journalist. You, me, sorry, me, you. Everyone's a journalist. Anyone can investigate anything. And that's what it should be. It should be a constitutional right to be a journalist. Free speech. Free press. That's what I'm looking for. That's the word. Free press. Should never be censored, should never be canceled, never demonetized or whatever. You investigate things, you should do that freely, without fear. Because fear breeds coercion. Fear makes you slaves to the government. That's what it wants. It wants you to be a slave. The slave's the machine, a cog in a machine it wants. It wants to keep churning and churning. And you're supposed to be the part feeling that. So, be the part that rebels. Be the part that doesn't fit in with the machine. Be that faulty lever that won't turn. Be that faulty wheel that won't turn. Be the tire that jumps off the machine. Be ungovernable. And I'm ranting in the middle of my video. Yay. As the mainstream culture, it kind of did it for me after I saw how extreme both sides were. So the right is mostly, obviously, pro-Iran with the war and stuff like that. That came out wrong. They're not supporting Iran. They're actually supporting Israel. But they're supporting a war with Iran. Obviously, I'm very critical of the Iranian regime. It's very brutal. It's very extreme. They murdered tens of thousands of Rome people for protesting. It's absolutely despicable. I hope that Ayatollah guy burns in the deepest parts of hell for doing that to his own people. But we shouldn't be dropping bombs on top of Iran for that. Do you want to know why? We did something similar with Iraq and Afghanistan when they did something to a certain building in New York. You guys remember what I'm talking about, obviously. Inside job. And then we removed Saddam Hussein, and look what happened to Iraq. Civil war. Look what happened to Libya. Civil war. Look what happened to Afghanistan. The Taliban in charge now. When we intervene in foreign nations, when we're trying to do regime change, it never works out in our favor. It just breeds more chaos. It just breeds more division. It breeds more hatred for America. So you might think you're getting rid of the devil, but in reality, you're getting Satan. You're getting Lucifer. You're thinking you're getting rid of the devil, but you're just getting rid of the Antichrist. Who comes afterwards is even worse. Even worse. So that's what the right's basically advocating for. The left is even more crazy, but identity politics. You know, you're this or you're that. You can identify as a jet plane, and that's it. Pronouns. There's all these issues they advocate for. Obviously, I'm pro body and pro choice and all that stuff. I'm okay with like whatever you want to identify as. I just ask that you don't force us to want to be what you want us to be. You just keep it away from children. That's it. I will support you for whoever you want to be. You can, if you want to identify as Barney the dinosaur, identify as Barney the dinosaur. Just don't just don't point a metaphorical gun in everyone's face and threaten them to try and be supportive of this. Not everyone agrees with you. Not everyone agrees with your viewpoint. That's called having an opinion. That's called having free will. That's called being an individual, a human being. We're not a hive mind. That's what the left is. The left is the hive mind. The liberal hive mind, I like to call it. So I'm done staying quiet. I was like the masses. I was afraid of speaking out because I was afraid of being canceled. I was afraid of being doxxed. Afraid of being harassed in my personal life. I was afraid of my views somehow coming to light and threatening everything I was doing. Because that's what the right actually did with Charlie Kirk. I deeply condemn everyone, celebrating Charlie's death, but doxing people, calling them idiots, making them lose their jobs, and it's just not how you do it, dude. You call them out on social media. You start flame wars on social media. That's how you deal with it. You fight fire with fire. You don't fight fire with an inferno. You're making things worse. It's not you're just radicalizing these people. I mean, I'm trying to think of a name. Karen in Minnesota thinks that Charlie Kirk says is the best thing since a certain Austrian guy made the best painting ever in his own bunker in 1945, if you catch my drift. And then Karen loses her job because that viewpoint came to light. Karen is now going to hate this person for all eternity, going to hate the administration for all eternity, and is probably going to become radicalized. She's probably going to take things to the extreme. You see what I'm saying? People can become very radicalized very easy in this day and age. We have access to the internet. We see all these different terrorists, essentially, doing these types of things. It's scary, the world we live in, but unfortunately, things that are happening online are starting to happen in real life. People are, I keep saying radicalized, but they're becoming radicalized. I was afraid of speaking out on the more notorious topics like the Epstein files or the war crimes in Gaza, because that's a topic that needs to be discussed more, I think. We shouldn't be afraid to call those things out. We should never be afraid to. That's what I was going to originally with the journalism thing. We're all journalists. We should all call these things out. Bring the politicians, the corporations, the governments. We should hold them all accountable. When the masses call the issues out, the masses gain the power. Power to the people, right? We the people. That's what the Constitution says at the very beginning. We the people. This is what we want. Where's the Declaration of Independence? I'm sorry, I'm stupid. I think it's the Declaration of Independence. We the people. I should actually have it right here. No, it's the Constitution. I'm not stupid. Yay. Alright, we're actually getting close on time here. It's actually already 12. But, hey, I started my stream early. Late. I think I started my stream 10 minutes late, so we still got time. The non-aggression principle. So you've probably seen a lot of libertarians talking about this. The NAP. That's what it stands for, the non-aggression principle. So I define it as, I guess I'm Golem now. You're free to do whatever you want with your own body and your own stuff as long as you don't hurt anyone else or take their stuff without permission. Don't be like the government. Don't hurt people or take their things, because then that makes you a dick. Alright? Don't be like Uncle Sam. Taxation is theft. You take something from someone else, you're basically taxing them. Okay? If you hurt someone, you're basically arresting them for posting a meme about a certain government in a certain country. I'm talking to you, UK. Yes, individual liberty is a key part of why America is so beloved by her citizens. It's a key part in how we're all born. We are born free citizens. We're born with the basic human rights. We're all born with civil rights. Doesn't matter what color of skin you are. Doesn't matter what gender you are. Doesn't matter what state you're in. You're entitled to the rights granted to you under the United States Constitution. Nothing should ever change that. Nothing should ever jeopardize that. And this country was founded on the principle of liberty for everybody. That's what the founding fathers believed in. And I do firmly believe that several of the founding fathers were libertarian, or at least held libertarian values. Like, I think Benjamin Franklin's a big part in that. Thomas Jefferson was definitely one too. These liberties are being ripped away by things like the Patriot Act, obviously, and FISA, and the IRS. Patriot Act is something I'll probably reference constantly because it was, in my opinion, the single worst thing probably ever passed by the United States Congress. Dude, the government can just march you anytime without a warrant. There goes your Fourth Amendment rights. The government can arrest you for saying something that sounds like terrorism, so you can get whisked away to Guantanamo Bay to get tortured. Thanks, Bush. You can get tortured now. Oh, sorry. Torture's too strong of a word. I meant enhanced interrogation. There you go. That's the CIA definition for it. I'm obviously not a CIA agent, as you can see. Or am I? Anyway, I'm as libertarian as you can get. Limited government for everything. I believe in a return to what the founding fathers intended, which is a limited government for everything. Like I said, there shouldn't be thousands of three-letter agencies running everything. There shouldn't be these departments managing what you are doing with your life. Your data shouldn't be held in a server in a FBI lab somewhere. You are entitled to live a peaceful life with your family, with your friends, with yourself, with your puppy, with your kitten. You guys should all live in peace. Well, Sir George Washington oversaw a very small, limited government. I think under Washington there's like 4 departments or something like that. It was like Department of War, Department of the State, Department of the Treasury. What was the final one? Department of something else too. I said Treasury, I think, right? Yeah, something else. Maybe it was Commerce. Probably Department of Commerce. Everything else was added later. Like Department of Education, I think that was under President Carter. And that's what I'm getting at. Over time, it has become more bloated. So bloated and not tyrannical that I think that even the founding fathers would probably barf upon seeing this. It's another version of the crown. It's a modern, democratic version of the British crown. The United States government is becoming the very thing that the United States itself fought against. We fought against taxation or representation. We were taxed, and we didn't have any representatives in Parliament. Well, right now, our representatives don't even represent us, and we're still getting taxed for it. So doesn't that same thing still apply to us? Maybe it's time for another revolution. Who knows? I think we should return to a confederation, not the Confederacy. That's two different things. Okay, the Articles of Confederation were the first, I guess you could say, constitution of what the United States should be. I think it was the governing law of the land before the Constitution was amended or was adopted. So a lot of states were kind of like their own self-governing, independent countries with a small federal government in D.C. That should, I think, be how it should be. 50 states, all independent, New Hampshire should lead the nation. I think I'm very. What's a word? What's a word you should use for devotion to one's state? Should I use patriotism? I'm patriotic to my state. I'm also patriotic to my government. Just big conflict of interest there. Patriotic to my government. Sorry, patriotic to my nation. Well, I don't know what I'm saying anymore. Taxation is theft, and taxation is slavery. We have a saying here in New Hampshire: no income tax now, no income tax ever. We don't have an income tax here in New Hampshire. We're very proud of that. But unfortunately, the 16th Amendment in 1913 established the federal income tax. The worst amendment, in my opinion, of all time, and it should absolutely be repealed. There should never be any taxes on anything, be that property, income, or sales. Like I said, taxation is theft, taxation is slavery. You should have possession over yourself and over everything you own. You have a $50,000 mansion, $50 million mansion. That's yours. You bought that with your own money. You're rich. People are saying tax the rich. Well, isn't that the same as taxing the poor too? The rich earned their way up there too. New money. Entrepreneurs and stuff like that. Trying to think. Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos built Amazon, wasn't it, out of like a garage? He's a billionaire now too. But you want to tax him on stuff he owns? I know he's a big bald egg, but still, there should never be any excuse for any of that. I believe that regulations severely harm the free market as well. Tariffs obviously apply to this. So all regulations should be abolished. There should never be any government overreach on any of this. No intervention at all in anything that's done financially. You know, you trade. It's how capitalism works. You know, there's you give something, you get money. You yeah, you buy something, you give money. Free speech is a human right. It's a undeniable American right. It's a civil right, and we should never be censored. Cancel culture is a fascist tactic, and that's what I'm getting at. Goths Against Cancel Culture. It's this organization, mostly on Facebook, but they're also on X and Instagram as well. They're led by this incredible woman named Danielle. Very good musical artist. She leads this musical act called Crucifera. Very, very good. I've listened to that album, Existential, probably thousands of times. I'm exaggerating there, but I've listened to a lot. I'm a big fan of it. I think it's the best album 2026. I'm gushing. But can't goths, they're not political. It's not anything political. Goth is a personal life choice. I am goth. I don't look it, but I am goth. It's a lifestyle. You can choose to be gothy. It's about the aesthetic, it's about the music, it's about all that. And people are somehow saying that goth is from punk, which is left wing. They're saying it's left wing, it's rebellious and all of that. I can see what they're trying to say. They're obviously very incorrect about that. Goth, like I said, is a lifestyle. You're not advocating for socialism. You're not advocating for communism. You're not advocating for fascism. You're not advocating for any of that. If you are a goth and you're saying that you don't want people to cancel you or to censor you because of what you are, politically separate from your goth identity, you should never be called a Nazi for that. You should never be called a goth Nazi, I guess you could say. And it's not just the left that uses it too. It's the right. The right and the left both use cancel culture to censor their critics and opponents, and it costs people their jobs, relationships, and even, unfortunately, their lives in some cases. Um, it's a very barbaric tradition that should end. We are in 2026. Cancel culture is very outdated at this point, and people are saying like, "Oh yeah, Mr. Beast is like the guy who hasn't ever gotten canceled. He's so good. No one should be canceled." I mean, except politicians, that they're obviously an excuse. They should be excluded from that. Every politician should be cyberbullied. They should be made ashamed of themselves. Blah blah blah. Um, but yeah, the goth is political thing. That's a whole other topic. I'm not gonna really delve into it a lot. That's actually something that my friend, libertarian goth, that's something she covers. She actually covered it in a video. If you follow me on X, I'll probably post a link to that or something. Or just follow her on YouTube. It's Libertarian Goth. And she makes an incredible point about how goth isn't political. Because she's libertarian. I mean, she's, you know, goth as a lifestyle. Uh, Cancel culture is, in conclusion, it strangles free speech and it must be abolished, like the IRS and the Federal Reserve. Gone. Zero, zip, nada. We can You can get rid of cancel culture tomorrow, and we'll probably be living in paradise the day after. It would be incredible. So, another thing I wanted to mention was politically incorrect. That was actually what I wanted to name this podcast before I did some thinking about it, and I just decided the Porcupine zone would be better than politically incorrect. Politically incorrect to me, that means that you're not afraid to speak out about anything, especially how controversial the issue may be, like abortion. Abortion is very controversial right now. Or same-sex things, transgender issues. Those are both very controversial issues that both sides are very heated about. It's very heated in the halls of Congress. It's very heated in the halls of a lot of state legislatures. And no matter how controversial it may be, you should never be afraid to speak out about it. And however mainstream things may be, obviously Hollywood's very pro-liberal a lot, and they cast out people who aren't really liberal. Don't say things that they say. Don't be part of the matrix. Don't be part of the machine. Don't be part of the flood. You should never be what actually Libertarian Golf calls coggies. Never be a cog in a machine. I lost my train of thought. Sorry. I am a conspiracy theorist. That's what I'm getting at next. Conspiracy theories, I mentioned that in the past. I've, focused on a lot of different things like JFK, the Epstein files, Pizzagate, something I'm also interested in as well. That's definitely murky waters. We probably won't get into that much. Yeah, it's you should be careful saying things online. I guess not online, but like in person, talking to different people. Debates, unfortunately, have become so heated that families are breaking apart. I think there's divorces that are happening because one person says something that their person doesn't like politically. And we've seen that with Trump as well. I think in 2024 there was like numerous cases of like the husband comes out of the closet as a Trump supporter, and then the wife was like, "Ah, no, you're a racist, you're a fascist, you're a Nazi. I'm divorcing you. Here's the divorce paper." And then their marriage collapses faster than the Eiffel Tower. That didn't make any sense. Then the marriage collapses faster than. I'm not going to finish that sentence. Just picture something collapsing very fast. Again, I lost my train of thought. This is how late it's getting. It's like almost it's after midnight already. Well, I was talking about something else. What else happened? There's two senators. Yeah, okay. I was talking about this as well. Two representatives who resigned. Um, I forgot who they're called. That's a Stalwell is one of them. He resigned because of a sex scandal, and I think Tony Gonzalez was another one who also resigned. He's actually running against a YouTuber I really like. His name is Brandon Herrera. He's running in Texas. He's very based. He's the AK guy. Sorry, you probably know him as like the guy who shoots all those guns on those videos. They're really popular videos. I'm honestly very surprised and very excited that a YouTuber like him is going to Congress. There's a very good chance he's gonna win. I think his current opposition now is not good. Katie uh, Tilla, I think her name was. I heard that she does unfortunately have a medical emergency though, so I do wish that she's okay. I'm not a heartless bastard. I pray for her and her family, even though I'm not religious. I'll probably get into that in the future episode as well. Man, I got map out my future episodes. But yeah, basically, I guess how this is gonna be going moving forward is I'm gonna have some notes. I have like a mess over here right now of all these different topics I should be talking about. But whatever's happening that day or happens like the day before, I'll talk about it. So I don't know why I'm taking the weekends off. I'll just be taking the weekends off, Saturday and Sunday. So if stuff happens. If something very important happens, I'll do an emergency stream. So I'll talk about it. Hopefully people will join. Hopefully you guys will join, and we can have a discussion about it. We can debate it. We can have reasonable discussions. I'll be giving my opinions on things from a libertarian perspective, obviously, and from a Gen Z perspective too. Because if you can't tell already, I'm actually almost 21. I know I probably look either above 25 or below 20. I'm actually 20. I'm young. All right, I'm young. I'll admit that. I'm not exactly bright. I'll say that right now. I'm a writer. I'm an author, so I can criticize myself. It's okay. I give myself that excuse. Yeah, I don't claim to know everything. Okay, so I'm probably wrong about a lot of things. I probably sound not right about a lot of things as well. But I try, okay? I try. Just give me the benefit of the doubt. I'm trying here, okay? It's my first time doing a stream in a while. First time ever doing a podcast as well. It's even more big for me. I'm trying to be bigger as well. Like, I'm trying to build my online persona. This is a lot. And as you know, I'm running for state house as well, so I'll probably get my recognition out there as well in my town. Hopefully, I can get the nomination for Republicans. I'm not gonna run as a Democrat. I'm not gonna run as a Libertarian. I'm not running as an independent. I'm running as a Republican. I know I'm running with one of the parties I criticized, but it's just the way it's gonna have to go. Because someone did suggest I run earlier as a Democrat, like advocating for like um, free speech and all that stuff. I just found that idea so funny. Like I just win as a Democrat who is just the most conservative you could ever think of. I just found that so funny. Um, but yeah, um, this is kind of I guess what you could expect each episode to be like in the future going forward. Just more, you know, me just talking to a camera, trying to figure out like what I should say next. Most of the time I just blabber. That's good because I talk a lot. I guess that's the reason why I'll probably be such a good politician. I just talk a lot. You know. It's once I get going about something. If I'm passionate about something, I'll just keep talking about it forever. Like talk to me about the MCU. Like before the Marvels. Please do not ever mention the Marvels to me, or else I will literally scream harder than Chester Bennington of Lincoln Park. Okay? Do not ever mention the Marvels to me. Thank you. But anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, I get passionate about things. I'm a nerd. I'll admit that. I like Linkin Park. I like this band called Sabaton. They're this Swedish metal, heavy metal, not heavy metal, sorry, power metal band from this town called Falun, and they do like history and it's like metal as well. I love metal and I absolutely adore history. So you combine those two things together. Yes, please. I'll go to any concert. Big fan of Metallica. If you can't tell already, I'm it's a big metal fan in general. Um, Passionate about that. Passionate about politics. Passionate about reading. I love reading. My favorite topic is probably science fiction, although apocalyptic fiction comes second, pretty close. I'm actually trying to write horror right now. I want to be kind of the next Stephen King as well. I know I'm rolling everything together in one. I want to be the next big politician. I want to be the next big, horror novel writer. Um, what else? I love walks. I guess I could say. This is like an icebreaker. I guess I'm just talking about myself. I have a hamster named Chester. I'll probably bring him on stream if he's feeling up to it. Sometimes he feels up to it. Sometimes he doesn't. It's entirely up to him. You know, the civil rights, free speech, and all that stuff applies to hamsters as well. In my opinion, applies to animals. I love animals so much. I should get like a better camera. This thing is like pretty grainy. I deeply love and respect my country. My great grandfather is actually her. Give me a minute. Give me a minute. I'm trying to remember his name. It's one of those old timey names that you always just forget. It's Herbert Hobart. No, sorry. Something Hobart. All right. Something Hobart, and he was the vice president under McKinley. So I don't want to say I pride myself on that, but just so you know, I have people in my family who have been politicians in the past who have been elected to high positions of government. So I'm criticizing the very things that my ancestors have accomplished. I'm not criticizing them in particular. Obviously, it's not their fault. I don't think it's particularly Vice President Hobart's fault that Uncle Sam has become so bloated and so bleh over the years. I actually tune that to Abraham Lincoln. People say that Lincoln was such a great president, like the best president of all time. But if you do more research, he is actually against civil rights. He, I think he said that like he wouldn't free the slaves if it meant like preserving the Union or something like that, because he wanted obviously a peaceful resolution to the whole Civil War crisis. But obviously by then those two like the South had seceded and they had fired out Fort Sumter. But Lincoln, here's the thing you didn't know about him, or the thing that's like overlooked a lot by historians, by history books and all that, because they focus on how he freed the slaves, which is obviously a great accomplishment, great achievement. Lincoln introduced the income tax. He actually did. I think it was repealed later, but he introduced like the basic form of it, the first form of it. Obviously, it was reintroduced in 1913. He also he suspended habeas corpus. I probably butchered that. But he imprisoned judges, he imprisoned all these people who criticized him because of the Civil War. He accused them of being Confederate sympathizers. And the way he basically treated the whole thing, he divided the nation, dude. He put Americans against Americans. I know he's forced into it. I'm not saying that I don't understand where it's coming from. I completely understand where it's coming from. It was a crisis. Things happened. But it's the same thing with the Patriot Act. Obviously, the nation wasn't tearing itself apart then. We were under attack. But still, you had a very tyrannical government. And Abraham Lincoln actually introduced a tyrannical government as well. Because after the South was defeated, that defeated the whole secession thing. Because when the states are joining the Union, it's basically like, originally it's supposed to be like, open arms, hug, come in here, You're in a nice, safe space now. But now it's a prison. Now states are afraid to secede. New Hampshire's, I think, tried to do it in the past. No one's brave enough, I think, to attempt it. There's this novel I should read called "Divided We Fall," in which Idaho, of all states, decides to give the whole independence thing a go. Obviously, that leads to another civil war. I'm passionate about that book. I love that book so much. The author's so good, Trent Reedy. But yeah, this the Union is just you're trapped in it now. I wonder if that's the reason why Puerto Rico doesn't want to become a state. They're afraid they're gonna be stuck in this prison. Because if they want to leave, they can't. If they leave, if Florida or New Hampshire or Tennessee or Idaho or Texas leaves or California even, they leave, they'll be branded a rebel state, and it'll be bombed and all that stuff. Because now obviously we don't have just muskets, we don't have just cannons anymore. We have artillery fire, we have uh, M16s, we have tanks, all that stuff. If a civil war broke out, it would be very dangerous, very deadly, very destructive. So, Lincoln is the reason why we have what I call a unitary government, a unitary republic. It's supposed to be Confederate kind of system of governance, but obviously we don't have that anymore. Thanks to Lincoln, the federal government is where it's at right now. All tyrannical, all oppressive, all authoritarian because of what he did with handling the Civil War. Thanks, Lincoln. Thanks for doing that. I've yabbered for long enough, alright? So, I'm Zvat. I'm your host for the Porcupine Zone. I go live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but I am mainly active on X under Zvalat. Zvalat. It's a great channel. I'm being biased because it's obviously my channel, obviously my account, but I think I'm pretty funny, so please do give it a look-see, I guess. I'm not saying you should follow me. Open suggestion, but you should probably. But if you enjoyed what you see, if you enjoyed me blabbering on and stumbling over my words like Joe Biden himself, please do make sure to give this a like and subscribe. It really helps me a lot. It gets this channel recommended out there more to more people. It gives YouTube overlords the word that, oh yeah, this person's pretty cool. Might as well recommend to more people. And, well, just remember this, okay? Quills up, stay free, become ungovernable, and I shall see you guys next time.